Hello everyone, Ollie here from 𝕬𝕠 and yeah, as you can see by the title and the thumbnail, I'm going to be ranking and listing my top 20 favourite films of all time. This has been in the making for quite a while. I've kind of been putting it off every now and again because this is really a really hard list to make, because I like a lot of films, but when somebody comes up and asks me what are your top 5, top 10, top 20, I meant to say top 15, top 20, like that kind of level of favourite films of all time, and I'm just like, oh, I get hyperventilated. I'm like, shit. And I know you shouldn't really get nervous about these kind of questions, but I do as a film buff. It's really nerve-wracking when I get asked that question a lot. So here I am now, giving you my definitive top 20 list of my favourite films of all time. So I've got my phone next to me here, and I've got a private list. It's going to be public soon, but I've got my private Letterboxd list of all of my top 20 films of all time, and I'm going to read them out. And I also have a couple of trinkets with me here as well, like the Blu-rays. I only have 16 of 20 films on Blu-ray at the moment. I want to get the other 4, which I'll tell you which ones I have and which ones I don't have. I'll show them when I talk to you about them. And I also have 5 books as well, because 5 of these films are based on books. So yeah, and I have a couple of bits here which I'll show you as well, which when I get to them. So I'm excited, but also a little bit nervous because I don't know what the response is going to be like. I try to be very varied in genres as well, because at the moment I am a horror fan, but I also love a lot of other genres like sci-fi, action, adventure, superheroes. I'm pretty much open to anything now. I mean, I was quite limited when I was younger because obviously of my age and my taste. But since becoming an adult, my tastes for the film genres have expanded quite a bit, which is great. So yeah, so, and also when you see my ranking and my list of all these films, you can kind of get an idea of what my movie taste is as well, or film taste, should I say. I'm British. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much else to say other than obviously this is a subjective list and a subjective ranking, so please try and not get offended and be like, oh, why is this not on the list, oh, why is this? Share me your list in the comments below and let me know what your top 20 favourite films of all time are, and we can discuss it together in the comments below and be civilised people.
So uncivilised.
So, yeah, I mean, don't have much else to say other than please be respectful to my opinions on these films and my placements. Yeah, it's going to be fun. So, also, I should probably point out, I guess these are in a particular order, but I mean, my top, I would say, top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe around 6. I mean, top 10, well, top 6 are more personal to me, and then the rest I've obviously had to try and put it in a particular order, but I managed to do it. So I guess they are in a particular order, but I've struggled to put this list together because it is very varied, not only in terms of the films themselves, but just the genres and everything. So I had to put them in a specific order. I'm also not going to take too long on each film because I have 20 to talk about, so I can only speak about so much for each of these films. So I'm going to try and keep it tight, maybe a minute and a half or so for each film. So yeah, let's go ahead and do number 20. Right, my number 20, my 20th favourite film of all time, The Witch, or The Witch, if I'm pointing it right. There we go. Yeah, so yeah, this is a film written and directed by Robert Eggers. He has also directed films like The Lighthouse, which is also brilliant. I was actually kind of contemplating whether or not if I should put The Witch or The Lighthouse on this list, but The Witch just managed to get on here. But I don't know, I just find Robert Eggers such a fascinating filmmaker, and obviously this was the first film that I watched of his, which is obviously, you know, this is his first feature-length film and a brilliant debut. Obviously starring Anya Taylor-Joy, there she is on the back there, and yeah, so she's this daughter of this little family that gets basically kicked out of their own village because of like a dispute, I think, and basically they have to live on their own out in the wild essentially, and they kind of make their own home, and settle, and, well, it doesn't exactly go well if you've watched the film. I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to spoil it, because it is a brilliant film. The atmosphere is crazy, the performances are really good. Perfect New England folk tale, as it says on the front here, a New England folk tale as well. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. It's been a minute and 30, so I just think it's brilliant. Yeah, that's my number 20. Okay, my number 19, which is actually the first book adaptation, well, first film to be adapted from a book. Ready Player One, well, that's the book, and here's the steelbook that I own. I really like this film. Obviously, I've watched the film, obviously, but I've only read a little bit of the book. Just so you guys know now, at least at this moment of time of recording, my reading span is really shit. So there's a number of books that I read, especially in this pile here for this list, but also other books that I have. I started reading them, really like the books, by the way. I've not disliked any of the books. It's just that my span of it is just awful, and I'm trying to improve on it over the summer. So I know you're going to be like, why haven't you finished this? I know, I'm sorry. And Ready Player One is one of those books that's highly regarded as one of the best, at least from what I've heard. But yeah, I love the film. It's a great steelbook as well. That's the egg. That's obviously featured in the film, and then obviously got the 3 keys. Yeah, I just love just the whole premise of it, really, like the virtual reality world. I've never myself owned a VR headset, but obviously I have tried. I've managed to try out virtual reality throughout various places, and it's a lot of fun. And to be honest, it's probably for the best that I don't own a VR headset, because I'd probably get really addicted to it, and yeah, it just wouldn't be very healthy. Love the film. Just love the whole gaming aesthetic. I grew up as a gamer, not a virtual reality gamer, but just noticing all the Easter egg references, and there's plenty of stuff, not only from other games but also other films. Obviously, it's a Steven Spielberg film, so it's brilliant. And yeah, that's all I have really to say, really. I just really love the film. Got to finish the book at some point, because from what I've read so far, it's brilliant. So that's my number 19, Ready Player One. Okay, my number 18, and I actually believe, I might have to check until I see the rest of this list, but I'm pretty sure this is the only film that I own, which I also don't own the book of, and that is Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Obviously, this is an absolute horror classic, or thriller. Some say it's a horror, some say it's a thriller. It's kind of a mix of both, really. I think Anthony Perkins is Norman Bates. He's just so iconic, so creepy, but on another way, so alluring as well. Like, he seems fascinating, but also quite creepy as well. Especially when I first watched the film. I watched it with my dad, I think. I only noticed recently as well that there's actually 2 cuts of this film. I don't think there's too much of a difference between the 2 cuts, but obviously the uncut apparently is more Alfred Hitchcock's version, I think. But I watched that and I really like that. I don't know what the difference is between the 2, so I have to go back and check and see the differences. But Psycho, an absolute classic. I think Janet Leigh as Marion as well is really good. Again, I'm not trying to spoil it too much in case you haven't seen any of these films, so I highly recommend you check out Psycho if you already haven't. Psycho, my number 18. Okay, my number 17, and this is the one of 4 Blu-rays I do not own physically, and that is Coraline Jones. Coraline. I don't know, I just have a really big attachment to this film, obviously, hence why it's on my top 20. So also, I think I watched this when I was really young. I couldn't tell you what age, but and then several years later in secondary school, we read the book, which I do own the book. Obviously, this is the second book I own. But I haven't reread it since in English class, because I read it in English, and funnily enough, one of the English teachers who you know, showed us the book and obviously showed us the film. It's actually one of her favourite films of all time, you know, one of her favourite books of all time. So it's really cool having that connection as well. So that's why one of the reasons why it's so it's attached to me so much. Like it's unusual for me because I'm not really a gothic fan. No offense to anyone who is gothic, obviously. It's just not my cup of tea, really. But for some reason, Coraline, I mean, it's not the most gothic thing, but you kind of get a sense that it's gothic. People get confused at the fact that this isn't a Tim Burton film, and it's actually a film by ℕ𝕌𝕻𝙻𝙸𝙴, who actually did The Nightmare Before Christmas, which Tim Burton actually did produce. But Tim Burton was not attached to this whatsoever. He wasn't a part of it, should I say. He wasn't a part of this whatsoever. But yeah, love Coraline. I'm not going to get into any spoilers because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't watched it yet. But yes, an absolute classic, nostalgic, and it is creepy. It's a very dark kids film, in my opinion. And yeah, so that's why it's my number 17, Coraline. Right, my number 16, Kick-Ass. Right, yeah, Kick-Ass is awesome. I have a quick story to tell you on this film. When I first watched this, I watched it with my dad when I was about 13 or 14, and which is the age where I shouldn't have watched it because in the UK it's a 15. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a 15, rated 15. And I was a year or two young to watch it. And my dad was just like, you know what, it's a superhero film. He loves superhero films. You might really enjoy this, but I did not realise how violent and grotesque this really was at that time, at that point. When watching the film, I had not watched a lot of violent films, like really strong violent films. And this film is violent as shit. It's one of the most violent films that I've ever seen. I wouldn't say it's the most violent film I've ever seen, but it is one of them, I'd say. And the reason why I have a strong attachment to this, for better or worse, is because when he showed me the film, there was a certain point in the film where I had to stop because I was feeling really sick and emotional, because the bit where Kick-Ass and Big Daddy get abducted and basically get strapped to these chairs with handcuffs and basically get beaten to death, well, almost beaten to death by Frank D'Amico, obviously Mark Strong's character's goons, and obviously it's all streamed on live television, and it's just such a brutal scene. It's probably I would honestly say it's the most brutal scene of the film, mainly for that strong attachment I have for it alone. But yeah, I watched that scene and I was just squirming. I didn't like it. Again, at that point I hadn't watched anything so violent like that, and yeah, I was really affected by it. And I then actually finished watching the film a couple nights after that, I think, and my dad was not happy about that. He wanted to finish watching it with me at a certain point, but I was just so eager to see, even though I was really grossed out by the violence, in terms of the story, I was really interested to see how it would end. And yeah, I mean, once I got past the violence and stuff, I really, really liked it. And obviously, once growing up, obviously right about now, and obviously watched a lot more violent stuff and being less desensitized by it, or more desensitized, whichever way around it is, I've gotten used to it, you know. I mean, I haven't watched it in a while, but I definitely will watch it at some point. Yeah, it's one of my favourite superhero films of all time, obviously, as it's in my top 20. And yeah, if you haven't checked out Kick-Ass yet, do it now. Right, my number 15. Dun-dun, dun-dun. Jaws. Of course, Jaws is on here. It's obviously on a lot of people's favourite films of all time. It's one of my favourite films of all time. Number 15, of course. I own the book. Again, like with Ready Player One, started reading it. I do really like it. Again, I stopped because of my attention span for books. I need to improve on it. Really like the start of the book. Obviously, I love the film, of course. Obviously, great characters, of course. Robert Shaw, the legend he is, as Quint. It's brilliant. Roy Schneider as Officer Brody, or Detective Brody. He's great. And then, of course, Richard Dreyfuss is great as well in it. Bruce the Shark. I mean, for 1975 and for the issues that they had on the film, trying to make it, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's the film that obviously made everyone scared to go in the water, and if I was one of those people back in the day that obviously watched it for the first time, I probably would have been scared to go in the water for the rest of my life. But yeah, I think it's obviously it's an absolute classic. That's enough said really about Jaws. It's brilliant. If you haven't watched it, watch it now. Do it now. Yeah, brilliant. Right, number 15, Jaws. All right, my number 14, which is also the second of 4 Blu-rays that I don't own, and that is the original Crow from 1994, starring the legend Brandon Lee. Obviously, we all know the tragedy. Obviously, if you've watched the film and you're aware of what happened, it's devastating for what happened to Brandon Lee on the set. But I won't go into too much detail. But the film itself is brilliant. It's honestly one of the most unique superhero films I've ever watched. It is a superhero film. I think it's a superhero film. I categorize it as that. Yeah, Brandon Lee as Eric Draven, aka the Crow, is brilliant. Sarah, the little girl in it as well, she's great. Obviously, the actress's only acting role she's done, and then she moved on to do something else, I think. I can't remember what she ended up doing, but she was great as well as Sarah. And then obviously the whole story is just the tragedy and everything with obviously Shelley, his wife, Eric's wife or girlfriend, Shelley. He gets brutally murdered and raped. It's awful. But the story is brilliant, like getting vengeance, I guess you could say, and I guess revenge in a way as well, I guess. But just the whole thing's great. Yeah, an absolute classic in my opinion. A cult classic, should I say, actually. I cannot highly recommend this film. Brilliant superhero film. I think it's underrated. And yeah, The Crow, number 14. Right, before I move on to my number 13, I've got to ask you this. Do you like scary movies? Or what's your favourite scary movie? Scream, the original Scream. Obviously I own the 6 movie collection. As of right now, I don't own any of them individually. But yeah, the original Scream, absolute classic slasher film. Directed by Wes Craven, written by Kevin Williamson. Absolute classic. Obviously all the characters you pretty much love. Neve Campbell as Sidney Prescott, probably my favourite final girl. She's so badass. All the other characters, at least in the first film, are so lovable. Obviously Randy, obviously the horror nerd. You obviously have Matthew Lillard as Stu Macher, brilliant, and obviously Billy Loomis. I keep forgetting the actor's name for Billy Loomis. Oh my god, I keep forgetting his name, but they're all great. Again, slasher, absolute classic, an absolute classic slasher film. Really changed the slasher genre as well. Really made an effect on it, and yeah, it's just brilliant, as we all know, for people that have watched it. If you haven't watched Scream, if you haven't watched any of these films on this list, do it. But yeah, Scream, my number 13, brilliant, classic. Yeah, Scream, number 13. Right, my number 12. I'm tired, boss. The Green Mile. I don't own this Blu-ray. It's the third of 4 Blu-rays I don't own, which is so annoying. I do own the book though. Haven't started reading it. Of course, Stephen King, legend. Yeah, I mean this film is brilliant. Now, obviously, this film is actually directed by Frank Darabont, if that's how you pronounce his last name. Who also directed The Shawshank Redemption. I honestly think this might be. Some people might get an argument with this. I think The Green Mile gets a bit overshadowed by The Shawshank Redemption. While I think The Shawshank Redemption is brilliant, I think The Green Mile surprised me a little bit more because I didn't know too much about it. Because with Shawshank, I think a lot of people know about a lot of things, but The Green Mile was a massive shock for me. The ending and everything, it's just so sad. Obviously, Michael Clarke Duncan as the amazing John Coffey, not the beverage.
Your name is John Coffey.
Yes, sir, boss. Like to drink, only not spelled the same.
And obviously Tom Hanks, of course, brilliant. Yeah, I mean those two performances are just brilliant, and yeah, I'll never forget that first watch. I was just in tears by the end. Again, I won't spoil it. If you haven't watched it, just go watch it, and I'll be shocked if you haven't even got spoiled by the ending or any of the film really. But yeah, Green Mile, absolutely fantastic. I've got to read the book at some point as well. And yeah, that is my number 12. Right, moving on to my number 11, which is Monsters. You're thinking, what the hell is Monsters? Well, what the hell's the matter with you? No. Yes, obviously this is a lenticular, if we couldn't tell just earlier. I'm going to take it out just so it's not too annoying. But yeah, Monsters. This is actually the first film by the director, writer, Gareth Edwards. He did the first Godzilla Monsterverse film. He also did Rogue One, directed Rogue One, and also did The Creator, which I do own on Steelbook. And he also he literally did this year, he came out with Jurassic World Rebirth. I think he's a really great director. I just find him really fascinating. He's one of my favourite directors. He just seems like a really chill, laid-back guy. And yeah, he's just brilliant. And the film, this is my favourite film of his, at least to me. It's just one of the most underrated sci-fi films. Basically, it's about this photographer who is hired by his boss to take his boss's daughter, across the Mexican border to the US safely, because there's these aliens that NASA a few years ago had discovered. And yeah, it's just brilliant. The effects for the budget, it's brilliant. The way that Gareth Edwards actually did the visual effects himself. In I think it's in like Adobe Effects, I think it's called. I saw a little bit of a documentary on it, and it's brilliant. But yeah, Monsters, brilliant. These two are great. Actually, they were actually a couple. He wanted to cast a real life couple in the film, so that obviously you can connect with them in a good way. And I personally did. I think they're great. But yeah, yeah, Monsters is my number 11. Check it out, please. It's a brilliant sci-fi film. Right, we're now in the top 10, and I'm really happy that this is actually on this list. And I was like, should I put this on this list? It's a very recent film, but I absolutely fell in love with it. I've watched this 3 times, and I actually unboxed this Criterion Blu-ray on the channel before, and that is 𝕬𝕳, written and directed by Sean Baker, and starring the amazing Mikey Madison. Yeah, it's just such a brilliant film. Obviously won plenty of Oscars this year or last year, depending on how you want to say it. And it won Best Picture, Best Editing, Leading Actress, 3 or 4. Well, it won a lot of Oscars this year or last year, and well deserved, because it was one of my favourite films of last year. And Mikey Madison as 𝕬𝕳, she's brilliant. Just a bit of a taste of 𝕬𝕳. Basically, it's a Cinderella story for sex workers. So obviously starring Mikey Madison, she plays a girl named Annie, and she's a sex worker. And she basically, for her job, she basically has an exclusive with this Russian guy, and all goes all well, all right, all fine and whatever. And then she shortly realizes that this guy is actually the son of a family mafia, I guess you could say. And after we find that out, it kind of just goes balls to the walls. It just takes a massive U-turn and turns into something different, because the first around 3/4 of an hour, it's basically just Annie and Vanya, as he's named in the film. They basically just party and fuck, basically. And you kind of get a bit like, oh, okay, is this going to go anywhere? And then it just takes a massive U-turn and just flips his head around, and it's just crazy. Again, I don't want to get into too much detail and spoilers, but if you haven't watched it yet, it's brilliant. I can't recommend this enough. And yeah, I'm so happy it's on this list. And yeah, that's why it's my number 10, 𝕬𝕳. Right, my number 9. And again, another one of these films which is such a comforting movie. And I was so surprised by how much I really enjoy this. This is a film that me, Rusty, and Nerd2 did review back in March 2024, I think, and that is Perfect Days, filmed by Wim Wenders, written and directed by him. Still his latest film as a recording, and it's a slice of life, as Rusty put it in the review. It's a slice of life about this guy who loves his life as a toilet cleaner, and he just does his daily stuff. We see him do his things daily, like from getting up in the morning, brushing his teeth, getting ready to leave the house to go to work, and just seeing the way he cleans toilets as well. We see the whole lifestyle of Tokyo as well in Japan. Like it's just so weirdly, you think it would be boring, but it's not. It's just so, it sounds weird, but kind of comforting in a way. Like it's a film that I've never really seen before, where you feel good. It's a feel good film, and every time I rewatch it, it's just, I don't know, I can't really, other than obviously saying it's comforting and just soothing, it is. So yeah, I recommend this film. The main, I honestly can't remember the lead actor of this film, but he is brilliant. I've seen a couple of interviews with him, and seems like a really nice man. And yeah, that's all I have to really say about Perfect Days, other than just go watch it. Great soundtrack as well, great songs picks for the film as well. Yeah, I just love this film, and I love the character that we follow as well. So yeah, Perfect Days, my number 9. Right, my number 8. Do you like Huey Lewis and the News? American Psycho. Obviously a film by Mary Harron, directed by Mary Harron, starring the legend Christian Bale in, honestly, his best performance, arguably. He's just fantastic. Own the book again, like with the other ones. I started reading it. It is a little bit more of a hard read than the other books that I've read in this list, but I liked it so far. Need to finish it like the other ones, but yeah, fantastic film. Christian Bale, iconic as hell as Patrick Bateman. Just the kills, his whole demeanor and his personality is just crazy. If for whatever reason you haven't seen it, you've probably seen it memed so many times online on social media. But yeah, it's just so brilliant. Probably would I say it's a cult classic? I guess it's a cult classic, but yeah, I just think, yeah, it's great. Yeah, but yeah, American Psycho, my number 8. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, that's it. My number 8, American Psycho. Right, my number 7. It is Alien. Yes, this is the 6, again, like with the Scream one, 6 movie collection with all the 6 ones, including the 2 Prometheus films. I obviously went for the original Alien, the 1979 film, Ridley Scott directed one. And while I really like Aliens, I think Alien, I don't know, I just prefer the horror aesthetic to it, because obviously it's highly debated online whether or not if Alien or Aliens is better. So you either like the horror aspect of Alien, or you like the action-packed of Aliens. And personally, I really like the horror of Alien. It's just the whole premise of these crew members on the ship, and basically they're fucked and they're stuck there in space with this alien on board, and they have to try and kill it. It's crazy. The effects are great for the late 70s. Yeah, just the whole premise is just really, really cool, and it's great sci-fi, really. Yeah, I think that's about it, to be honest. Without going into too much more detail. Yeah, Alien, my number 7. Right, my number 6. This is the last of 4 films I don't own on Blu-ray, and that is my favourite Pixar film, Ratatouille? He must be joking.
Ratatouille? They must be joking.
Yeah, Ratatouille. Again, my favourite Pixar film. The reason why it's my favourite Pixar film is not only is it awesome, but when I was younger, I was inspired to be a chef, and I did take a cooking course at college, but I just found the working environment really stressful and overwhelming. But I still like cooking and baking at home, not in a working environment. But this film really is the film that really inspired me wanting to become a chef, and loved and made me love food even more. And one of the things I do have here, even though I don't own the Blu-ray, I do own this massive teddy of Remy. Yeah, I think we found it in like a car boot sale or like a Fate or something. But yeah, it's brilliant. Remy, gotta love Remy. He's got a French stick right there. But yeah, Ratatouille, best Pixar film in my opinion. Yeah, just anyone can cook. They can. I guess. I guess you could say anyone can cook. Greatly, badly, whatever. If you like cooking, you can cook. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. Don't really need to say much more about Ratatouille. If you've seen Ratatouille, you already know it's brilliant and it's one of the best films ever made. But yeah, it's my favourite Pixar film, my 6th favourite film of all time, one of my favourite animated films, and yeah, Ratatouille, my number 6. Right, quickly before I get into my top 5, I just want to point out that my camera died. Luckily, after I recorded my number 6, obviously this is after that, but I decided to try and charge it up a little bit before I continue, but it just took so long to get up to a point where I think, oh, this should be good. So I've charged it, it's charging right now as I'm recording, and hopefully there won't be any more issues along the way. So yeah, so top 5. So this one's special. So this is kind of a spoilery kind of thing, just to say along the way. So this is the first of 2 Studio Ghibli films that I've added on. I was just gonna have one, but I was like, I can't just have the one because both of these films are very special to me in certain ways, in various different ways. And the first of 2, my number 5 is Kiki's Delivery Service. Now, I don't know, the thing I love about this film is that it's about adolescence, and so Kiki is at a stage in her life where she wants to become an independent young witch, and she wants to explore the world and do wonders, I guess you could say. And obviously she has some issues along the way, whilst you know being independent. Obviously, she learns to fly. She gets a job at a bakery. Again, I don't want to spoil too much, but it's just, I'll say a little bit. But it's just brilliant. I just love the whole film. I love the themes of the fact that throughout the film, obviously, we see her highs and her lows. She obviously, there's a point in the film where she has self-doubt in herself, and this prompts basically her to lose her ability to fly because of her self-doubt, and some inklings of depression, and just that kind of stuff that just shows that obviously that this film is worth telling. Like, it's a film that came out in 1980, 89? Is it 89? 89, I think. 1989, yeah. And yeah, I just think it's brilliant. I love Kiki. I also love Gigi, her cat. He has some great lines. And yeah, I just love Kiki's innocence and Kiki's innocence and confidence, and she just wants to be who she wants to be. And then obviously got Gigi, he's just hilarious black cat. And yeah, some great moments with them both. Yeah, I just love the story, and I just love the themes that they portray in the film. That's really about it, really. So yeah, Kiki's Delivery Service is my number 5. Right, my number 4. Dun 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 dun. Indiana Jones. Which one though? Obviously this is the 4-film collection. I don't own the 5th one, Dial of Destiny, whatever it's called. I only own the first 4 on Blu-ray at the moment. But the one that I picked, I was choosing between the 2, but my favourite of at least of these 4 is Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is of course the first film. Honestly, I was debating between Raiders and The Last Crusade because they're almost neck and neck. But I don't know, I just love the more globe-trotting aspect of Raiders. So Raiders is my number 4. And obviously Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones is just so iconic, brilliant. Since becoming to loving these films, I also really like, and I don't know, I find archaeology quite fascinating. I haven't really looked too much into it outside of Indiana Jones, but when watching these films, I just love, again, the globe-trotting aspect of it, the archaeology side of it, and just the action. Some of the action, it's not too action-packed. It doesn't need to be, and it's just great. Raiders of the Lost Ark, brilliant. Obviously, iconic score. John Williams is legendary. Spielberg, of course, another Spielberg film, and yeah. I think that's what I have about it, really, for Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's just a fantastic, brilliant film. And yeah, I managed to watch this actually in the cinema last September, and it was just so great because I experienced it with a friend of mine from university who never watched the film, and I was like, oh mate, you've got to watch this. So I took him to go watch it, and he really liked it. He really enjoyed it, and I was really happy that he enjoyed it. And it was great to experience it on the big screen for the first time. So yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark, my number 4. Right, we're in the top 3 now, and now I'll be honest with you, these top 3 I interchanged quite a few times, and I love all 3 of these films for different reasons, and obviously I've now solidified these 3 films in their, I guess you could say, correct order. So with that said, my number 3, yeah, my number 3 is Joker, the first Joker. I haven't seen the second one yet, for various reasons, and obvious reasons. But I do own the second film. It's on Steelbook, I have it down there. But the first film means a lot to me. I know it sounds a bit stupid because it's a DC film. It's a film. It's nothing like any other DC film that I've watched, because this isn't just punching and, you know, action and whatever and fucking comedy and stuff. It's about a guy who's struggling in life due to society around him, and she's struggling to become the person he wants to be. And obviously he has a lot of issues involved with a laughing disorder, and just, I don't know, he lives with his mother, his ill mother, and obviously throughout the film we learn the truth about his mum and stuff. Obviously I won't get into too much spoilers, but we kind of learn the truth that he is kind of deteriorating in life, and he's wanting to succeed and everything, and it's a really sad story. And obviously that's, you know, it's the origin story of the Joker. Well, this interpretation of the Joker, and I don't think it's the definitive story of the Joker. This is just an alternative version of him, and I absolutely love it. It's the first film I do believe is the one that made me look at films and be like, wow. Because when I watched this in the cinema with a few of my old friends, I was just in awe. I was just like, this is incredible. I absolutely loved the film, loved the acting, loved the story, the themes that they portrayed in the film. Yeah, I mean, Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur Fleck, aka the Joker in the end, he's brilliant. It's probably my favourite role he's done. He won the Oscar, again, well deserved, Joaquin. Yeah, as I have here, I have the 𝙾𝙻𝙻𝙸𝙴 exclusive collector's edition. I have the Steelbook, which has the 4K and Blu-ray, and yeah, I mean, I've kind of explained why it is my number 3, my third favourite of all time. It was at one point my favourite, but after watching one film, which we'll get to shortly, and also another one which also means a lot to me because of nostalgia, but this one is the film I believe is the one that really made me a proper film fan and made me look at cinema in a different way, which some people might find ridiculous, but that's just the god honest truth. So yeah, I just love the film, love the acting, all that kind of stuff. I've yet to watch the second film. I've kind of steered away from it. I didn't go watch it in the cinema because of the negativity, and I was like, I'll wait till it comes out on Blu-ray and try and experience it myself and see if I like it or not. And I still haven't watched it yet, so I'll get to it when I get to it. And yeah, so yeah, that's my number 3 for Joker. Brilliant film. Right, my number 2 is a film that I actually studied on. I made a essay at university on it, and I actually had to submit it just recently. And it's Aftersun, which stars Paul Mescal and Frankie Corio, who play a father and a daughter in the film. And sorry, I should have said it's written directed by Charlotte Wells. Kind of a semi-autobiography in a way, but she doesn't like calling it that, but she's kind of based off experiences with her and her dad, so that's why there's a bit of a father-daughter characters here. Yeah, I just think this is a fantastic film. It's brilliantly directed. The vision that Charlotte Wells had in mind, obviously, like I just said, obviously the inspiration from her and her dad, her memories from him, just that alone just made me invested in the film. And then, because when I first watched it, I was a bit confused by it all, because obviously not everything is in your face and being like, oh, this is this. It's not very directive. It doesn't give you everything you need, so you need to watch this 2, 3, 4, how many times you need to know to kind of figure out what actually is happening in the film. And that's what I love about it, is that you have to watch it several times, try and figure out what's wrong. And obviously I know what's wrong in the film, and I won't spoil it, but it's a fantastic film about fatherhood, mental health, and just childhood, nostalgia, and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a fantastic story. It's not a very rewatchable film because of its themes and stuff, but when I do come back and rewatch it, it's always great watching it. So Aftersun is my number 2, and yeah, again, this Joker and my number 1, again, like I said earlier, it kept interchanging because I love all 3 of these films for various different reasons. And yeah, so Aftersun, my number 2, which now leaves my number 1, my favourite film of all time, the second of 2 Studio Ghibli films, My Neighbor Totoro. I adore this film. This one is my number 1 purely because of nostalgia and just the story. I love the story. I know some people are like, oh, there's no story to it because it's just about these 2 girls and yeah. Well, I just love how simple it is. It's a very easy watch. There's not really much plot to it. It's literally just about these 2 siblings, 2 sisters that basically move in to a new home with their father to the countryside, but it's also about child adolescence as well. It's also about adolescence, but it's much more fantastical, I'd say, than Kiki, comparing the 2. But obviously they find the creatures, the guardians of the forest, and obviously they bump into Totoro. Well, the younger sister does. Oh shit! The younger sister does. In the film, called May and Satsuki. And then obviously their father. But yeah, Totoro, it's a film that I grew up with and watched several times over the years, and I absolutely love it. Just love again the themes, the story, the characters, and everything. It's just so great. Like there's a hint of sadness in this film, and obviously it's healthy to have sadness in your life, but when you want to just sit down and watch a film that's happy and fantastical and innocent and all that kind of stuff, it's great. It's a great watch. And yeah, that's why it's my number 1, My Neighbor Totoro. Again, I didn't want to have too much time on each film, talk about them, because obviously, again, just watch 20 films and I already feel like I'm losing my voice. So I don't think I have much else to say other than obviously I hope you respect my list, and let me know in the comments below if you were surprised by a lot of these films. Some of them obviously are beloved, and some of them are like, whoa, I didn't realise they were going to be on the top 20. And I guess yeah, some of them are quite recent, some are classics, some are quite recent films. it is what it is. It's just my top 20 films. So again, let me know in the comments below what your top 20 films of all time are, and I'd love to hear them. Really, I'd love to hear what your top 20 films of all time are, and yeah, we can discuss it in the comments below. And yeah, what will be the next video? I don't know what the next video will be. It'll probably be Fantastic Four First Steps with me and NerdTube, which we might be going to watch on Wednesday, and today is Monday, so in a couple of days. So we'll see. Not 100% certain, but it's looking likely it's going to happen, but we'll see what happens. But as of now, that is my top 20 films, favourite films of all time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.